Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and quite the entertaining yesterday with regards to the World Series of Warzone. A lot of CDL Pros playing in this one, and some of the drama between the players and also the Warzone players was certainly of note. Intriguing your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, thought this was just hilarious. Crimsix was on fire on the timeline yesterday. We'll have a look at it a little bit in a second here. 300,000 World Series of Warzone tourney with Kenny and Slasher. Nature was playing, of course. As Crim says, oh, you know, Matt, your makeup looked absolutely incredible today. Let's dive in then. So, this is how it was going early on. These are, of course, some of the top teams, as you can see right here on screen. And it was the OpTic guys early on, Karma, Scump, and Formal after Game 3. They were in second place in the tourney. So, very impressive stuff. And the team that ends up winning it is Aiden Huskers and Raiders. I talked about yesterday. That team was absolutely stacked out of control. Very impressive stuff. But it was really cool to see, like, Karma especially, but also the OpTic guys that are currently playing in the CDL, really mixing it up with the best Warzone pros. And you have to fear, really, if you're a Warzone pro, there's during the off-season, for example, when the pros are no longer playing in the CDL, they're going to come down to the Warzone side and absolutely start smoking people, right? I'd love to see what would have happened this event if you'd have got, like, Simp, aBeZy, and Cellium, because I remember, like, at the start of the season, it was those three plus Vicstar. They were, like, holding world records and stuff in a Warzone and just destroying people. So I'm sure they could do the same thing. Like, I mean, Aiden talks about it in a second here. We'll look at the fact that, you know, he occasionally run into some CDL pros and got absolutely guns because the gun skill is obviously there, and if the pros actually played Warzone a little bit more often and understood what was going on the map at times, I'm sure they could be obviously the best players. We see it with Rated, right, who was formerly a great player in the COD League, and now has gone over and been one of the very top players and one of the highest earning players in the Warzone side of things as well. It finishes off on Aiden Huskers and Rated take it. We get the COD guys largely fall out of the running all the way down to the wire, but still some pretty entertaining stuff, of which I did manage to tune in for. As Rated says right here, just wanted to mention it, of course, because Rated a great player in COD for a number of years, comes out in a very difficult spot. He had so much, like, he was so unlucky in his career with the organizations he was playing for and getting screwed over by Red Reserve and Denial and all this type of stuff. And yeah, $16,666 each, not too bad. Yeah, Rated takes the victory. So yeah, they win the thing. The Team Swag wins the whole thing in terms of the Captain Cup, whatever exactly that went down as. But certainly some of the entertainment factor was between Formal and Crimsix, because we know there's been a bit of drama going on between these players the other day. So of course Formal was on Scump and Karma's team right here, with just 3/4 of the Dynasty, right? So they had 3/4 of the Dynasty squad as a team of 3, and then Crimsix was the 4th member of that Dynasty team, but teaming with a different squad, of course, this time around, because well, obviously it was only a 3 versus 3 tournament anyway, or 3v3v3v3 ad infinitum, but still a little bit of friction does remain here between Crimsix and well, Formal, I believe, especially right now. There was some sort of red door situation. Didn't manage to catch it, but I think they got someone unlucky early on in the game, but they had second place for a while. Red door costed hard. GG's brother, says Scump. Now, this was one of the more entertaining things, right? Because this past weekend, there was a lot of drama going down between Formal and Crimsix, especially on this, well, in the LAN environment. There was a fair bit of discussion before the tournament went down regarding, and even after the tournament, right, when Formal eventually was knocked out by Crimsix, talked about how, you know, the money he owes him from the World Championship MVP prize back in 2017, and all this type of stuff. And, well, right here, we get to see a battle of the two of them in this Warzone stuff, which is really entertaining, right, to see. It's a surprise to me, personally, it's taken them this long to get something like this sorted, because I don't really have any interest at all in watching pros play Warzone just against, like, casual players, and just, like, how many kills can you get in pubs? Like, I just don't find that particularly entertaining at all. However, against other actual pro players, it does get pretty interesting. So right here, as you can see, I'll play the clips for you guys on screen right now. Formal managed to take down Crimsix from high, and then he talks about after the fact that he's pretty happy, to be honest, that he ran into him online as opposed to on LAN, because, well, he could get the better of him on the LAN environment this past weekend.
Dude, like over here somewhere? Zone, I might be able to get safe.
Hang on, I'm coming.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe.
I fell down. They're like behind us to the left, Matt.
Nice.
East rim.
There's kids
Watch out for that other team.
No, dude.
You'll make it.
Yo, Damon.
Yo.
Thank God I found Crim online and not on LAN. I couldn't kill the guy online.
This is another clip I wanted to share as well because HaLy, of course, who's Karma's wife, was playing with the OpTic guys, so they're like the half TST team with Blake and George, I believe, and Hitch wasn't playing, but HaLy was playing with them and kind of entertaining the fact that this Biffle guy, who apparently is one of the top Warzone players, I don't really follow Warzone particularly closely to know, but people are talking about Aiden, people are talking about Biffle being like one of the most talented out there, and well, his team ends up going down to David Carmabalo, and this is pretty cool to be honest, how he shoots his wife's body just a couple of minutes ago in the game, and then Karma turns up and pops a nice 3-piece here to get the job done.
Back. Laying down the Rokkr right in front of you, Damon. Another kid to his left.
Yo, close. Close, I can't see him. He's behind the fence, dude. I can't see him.
Watch out, Damon. Behind the 2K. The other kid's far. No, I got sniped. I mean, yo, Damon, last guy's on the clock a little bit. He's to your left, Damon. Run. I'm gonna self and then run inside. 1 second.
Got him.
Nice, Damon. Good job. That was Biffle squad. You
guys can rebuy me?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I couldn't see.
You're chilling.
So I thought it was pretty interesting that Aiden comes out and says, look, I've run into some CDL pros here that kind of had me in this game. They were definitely had my number of times, and I was having a tough time killing these people. And pretty cool to see. I mean, obviously it's expected, right? The CDL pros. And I think it's kind of funny when there's a lot of players, a lot of fans, I guess, that are fans of these players, the new Warzone streamers. And then when they're getting destroyed by CDL pros at times, they get very frustrated in the streams. You know how it goes. But look, at the end of the day, it's pretty cool. And I think there's a lot of potential crossover right here. And a lot of people who are probably going to right now be massive fans of their Warzone streamers that they particularly enjoy, and then they might come up against some CDL pros and get kind of bodied, and then things are going to change from there. So I'd be really interested to see like what happens during the off season, especially if things like this continue, you're going to see a lot of pro players up against a lot of these top Warzone players are probably going to have some pretty great results, because they had a great result yesterday. There was a lot of things happening in favor of the COD pros that don't really understand the game particularly well, that don't play it day in, day out. They just, they're playing competitive Call of Duty, right? But as soon as the off season hits, then things are going to start changing around. And even here, we didn't have some of our really top players like the likes of the FaZe guys competing in this tournament. So definitely had some opportunities going forwards. Lots of money on the line here as well. And I think there's potentially some great opportunities for some of the players that do watch Warzone on a regular basis to come in and start watching Call of Duty as well. So great opportunity, all things considered, for Call of Duty. It's something that the CDL needs to look into. I thought it was very interesting, right, that this was streamed exclusively on Twitch. The CDL is streamed exclusively on YouTube. And I imagine that the deal with Twitch for this was struck somewhat after the deal for the YouTube situation, so maybe they're considering a Twitch return for the YouTube side, as we did discuss yesterday. This may well be one step in that direction. Thought this is funny for Methods, right? Need to play some of these guys in hard points, because I think he was having a relatively tough time. Some of the pros certainly didn't have the easiest time of things. It was Scump, Formula Karma that really were mixing things up the best, I think, at least early on, out of some of the former pro players or the teams of pro players. I don't think the New York Summoners guys had a particularly good time. Methods obviously not having a good time either, but I'm sure if they come to his domain, it probably wouldn't be too pretty for a lot of these players. Now, this is what Crimsix was on about. Like, he was absolutely out of control of the timeline last night. I'm not going to read out this entire thing because it's just outrageous. I don't understand how he comes up with some of this stuff. It's just way too entertaining. This guy's been off his leash lately, there's no doubt about it. Hopefully he comes up with this video over the coming days about the whole Huke situation that he hinted about. Whether he will or not, that is still up in the air. But to be fair, we were waiting a long time for the Huke video, which eventually did drop, and then all the implications that came out of that just a few weeks ago now. And so, well, Crimsix says right here, Dylan, we held Red Reserve Reese, so Reese being rated, of course, he spells his name wrong, right? So that's R-H-Y-S, the Welsh spelling. But Reese is also called Vivid, who's now his current teammate, to like 30k in 3 years. So saying that Red Reserve rated kind of got destroyed back in the day. Now he goes to Warzone and he's COD 4 Halifax. So I didn't really follow back in the COD 4 days. I guess I was probably like 8 years old or something. But like Halifax, I guess, was a phenomenal player back then. Spencer is going to have to replace my specific banner position too. So of course Crimsix has like his banner on the Warzone outside the stadium, right? They have the banners of all the players that won the World Championship. Crimsix being one of them. And for that never-ending banter L for me in regards to that C-line. 30k in 3 years, woo. Brother, lay off the heady. If you want me to make your team not lose a Search and Destroy at Champs, bell my line and we can talk prices. And then Crimsix with this absolutely like outrageous response. I don't know how does his brain work like this? It is truly an incredible sight to see all the talent on a regular basis. And well, nice to see him interacting a little bit more as well, because the entertainment for the core community is truly unmatched at the present time. Couple of things to finish off the video. video, this is the first thing I wanted to dive into. Season MVP. So there's going to be, same as last time, a league MVP and a postseason MVP. Last season, Shotzzy was the league MVP, and then it was Crimsix who got the postseason MVP for, playing particularly well at playoffs. I think he only had a 0.99 KD or something, but his impact was certainly felt at the World Championship last year. So look, who's your MVP is the question mark to everyone right now. I think you'd have to be, well, it's got to be someone on FaZe, no doubt about it. I'm pretty sure at this point, any player on FaZe could still get MVP. I wouldn't be surprised, and maybe they'll do a similar thing. Let's say like FaZe do come in and World of One Championships, as they are expected to do. Who's your MVP though for the entire season so far? I think a lot of people would say Simp. I probably would lean that direction. A lot of people would say aBeZy. Those are probably got to be the top two names right now. Probably the best players in the scene. I think both the players are just phenomenal. They have slightly their own styles, and Simp is just Simp is maybe more consistent to me. Like aBeZy has maybe more pop-off games at times and just completely takes over, but Simp is just that absolute rock who's like always going to drop a 1.2 sometimes in good series when they win, which is it's just incredible what this guy does on a regular basis. I think at times people overlook how incredible Simp is, because aBeZy might be more flashy at times, but Simp's just there getting the job done series in, series out, and to me is probably the most valuable player on that team, and probably the most valuable player in the league. If every team was to split up and I had to target one person, I think I would start with Simp. I think that's probably a no-brainer right now, but aBeZy's got to be right up there. Cellium's also got to be right up there, and there's other players as well that have had huge impact for other organizations and for other teams that aren't necessarily winning championships right now, and that's why you probably have to lean the way of Simp and aBeZy, maybe those guys at the current time. Thought I would mention this as well, because you guys might not know about this if you came into the scene relatively recently. A couple of years ago, there was a very difficult situation when Huke had a hard time on Envy, and he really wanted to leave the Envy organization. He wanted to find himself to go somewhere else, and it was a tough time for him. However, he ends up finding his way onto Splice. It doesn't go so well. It's kind of entertaining, really. They loaned him to Splice for a couple of months. I really thought this team was going to be particularly good. It was like there was Loony on that team, there was Temp on that team. I think they might still have had Jerd at the time, and it really didn't work out for them. But this is kind of funny because Chrome was really getting into the he was getting into the scene at the time in terms of doing the leaking and the coverage and this type of stuff. And there was a quote that he puts, I believe still in his bio: "Huke is not going to Splice. Who is leaking this? Clearly fake news. Please tell me it's not that crowed dude again." But of course this was bang on the money. He then returned to Envy for the start of the Modern Warfare season, when it then became the Dallas Empire, and well, things have changed quite significantly from then. I'm really talking about this whole Simp and aBeZy situation. What would the world look like if these two players are on different teams? I think Simp said not too long ago the fact that like if these guys aren't retiring together, like on the same team, then like something's gone significantly wrong. But it's very rare that players will team together for a very long period of time. Like even the likes of Scump and Formal, they split apart. Scump and Crimsix split apart. Like these are legendary duos. Have eventually things have gone wrong. Now, will that happen for Simp and aBeZy? I do wonder, right? Because you could, a couple of years down the line, maybe FaZe aren't doing so good. Maybe there's some friction in place. Maybe some new players come on the scene that are absolutely dominant. Right now, you can't really see that ever happening. But who knows? And if they were on different teams, like it would just be incredible to witness. Like I don't know, it would just be something I'd be really excited to see. Because right now they're just way too good, and it's kind of disappointing for the competition, right? Having to deal with these guys on a regular basis. But who can blame them really for being on a team that is as dominant as they are right now? Intriguing your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upside the YouTube algorithm. Like you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I'll grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you much as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.